gonna go ahead and get started. Um, Thank y'all for joining us. Welcome to the Black Staff and Alumni panel. My name is Glenn. I am an admission specialist here at App Academy, and I will be your host. So just to kind of give you a layout over what you can expect for the next, 50 minutes, I'm going to introduce the other ladies and gentlemen on the panel. Um, I will give them some questions. They'll answer those questions, and then I'll save a few minutes at the end. Feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat. All right. And also, again, feel free to turn your cameras on. You don't have to, but it's sometimes nice to see a face on the other side of the screen. So cool. Let's get going. Let me go ahead and introduce the other fine people on this panel. We have Amira Gates, who is a software engineer here at App Academy. Graduated in 2021. And could you share with the group, Amira,
Yes.
your cohort, current city, current role, and then what you did prior to coming to App Academy?
Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Amira. I am currently a software engineer here at App Academy. I was a part of the October 2021 cohort. And I'm forgetting everything that I was supposed to say, but
current city and
current city. Okay, yeah, I'm in Baltimore. Maryland.
Okay.
And before App Academy, I was working as a barista at Starbucks in like a Barnes and Nobles, and I was pregnant as all heck. Yeah, I was pregnant, and I remember just carrying this big like bucket of ice to refill the ice machine and thinking like, this is like, I can't do this anymore. This is not for me. Like I need, this is just not going to work for me anymore. So I quit. And I wasn't in school. I had dropped out, actually. I was majoring in electrical engineering, but that didn't work out for me. So I just was in this kind of place where I felt like I was going down a downward spiral, didn't really know what I was going to do, where I wanted to go, or like where life was taking me. But I knew that I was about to be a mom and I needed to figure it out. So I just started to think about like, what do I enjoy? What is my passion? Like, what are my hobbies? And for me, that was always reading or like playing video games and code. Like I loved Code Academy. I loved Free Code Camp. Those are the things that like I just enjoyed in my free time. So I started to look into boot camps, and App Academy was really the only boot camp that I felt supported throughout like my entire journey and like getting into the boot camp world. Like Mary was my person that I could contact whenever I had a question about anything throughout the whole application process. So because I felt so supported, I just knew that this was the best place for me. And lo and behold, it worked out because I work here now as a software engineer. So yeah, just came full circle for me, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Did I answer all of them? I answered. Okay.
You got them. You got them. Baltimore. Okay. Never been there. I have to come check that out. That's a cool story, and appreciate you sharing. Hopefully that'll resonate with someone here that's listening. Before I go on to the next person, I just want to remind everyone, please be sure to mute your mic so we can hear each panelist and also hear questions that are being asked. Thank you. Brianna Robinson, why don't you go ahead and share with us your current role, city, and life before App Academy?
Okay, so hi, my name is Brianna. My current role is mod assistant for App Academy full-time 24-week program. My current city is Decatur, Georgia, which is Metro Atlanta. And then before I joined App Academy, I was a full-time musician. I'm now part-time musician. I play violin, so I teach, record, and perform. But now I do that on the weekends because App Academy is my real job now. So.
Cool. Listen, I understand that. App Academy, the real job. Well, appreciate you sharing. We'll move on to the next one. Deja Williams, why don't you share with us your role, city, life before App Academy? Deja with us? I don't think so. So we'll move to Erica. Erica, why don't you share with us current city, current role, life before App Academy, and what cohort you went through?
Absolutely. So I am, sorry, I saw someone pop up. I thought it might have been who we were looking for. So I am currently in North Carolina. I'm actually in Asheville, but it's in transition to possibly move to Los Angeles or New York with my current job, which is Warner Music Group. And I'm in one of their companies called ADA, which is Alternative Distribution Alliance Worldwide. And we are the third largest record label, and our distribution is pretty high up there too for independents and majors and things like that, or for like third parties. I graduated in February 2021. So I started in September 2020. And my life before App Academy was in shambles. Because it was just the beginning of the pandemic. And previous to that, I was working freelance in the music industry and had been trying to break into tech for a few years before that, but just it didn't happen until App Academy. And just like Amira was saying, I had a little bit of an experience with another boot camp. It was really a nightmare. And not until App Academy did I feel like they really cared about making sure, like, watch me cry, watch a tear come down. But I knew I wanted to be in the industry, and as hard as it was to get there, I'm so glad that I'm there now. And I think I answered everything. But yeah, it was transitioning from freelance music industry and food service. And then the pandemic, I had like nothing because I didn't even qualify for aid because I was mainly self-employed. So yeah, turned my life around for sure.
Wow. Appreciate you sharing that with us, Erica. Listen, don't hold the tears back. If they need
Right.
to flow, let them flow. Right? What
Yeah.
they say in Frozen, let it go. Let it go. All right.
Absolutely.
So we'll move on to the next person. Again, appreciate you sharing that with us. John, can you share with us your cohort, city, role, and life before App Academy?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is John Shivers. Let's see. Is it when you came in? Let's see. I started in March 21 and graduated in October 21. Just for some context on how fast this thing can go. Current city is Wilmington, Delaware. And technically my role would be security engineer working in cybersecurity. I can't say much about that, but my my career and life before App Academy, I was an inspector in oil refineries, so kind of doing non-destructive tests for materials, and I was one of the people upset by the pandemic, so my role was put on pause while people weren't, traveling, using gas. Then I had some physical ailments that put everything on pause. So the pandemic was like I was on ultra lockdown. I couldn't move, and nobody could move. So eventually, I just was like, I don't want the aid or whatever. So I just had to get up and do something. And like computers were the only thing you could do, make some decent money sitting there. So I literally found App Academy and signed up like the next morning, and then tried to start the next week, but they were like, nah, you probably wait till the next cohort. But I was trying to go. And pretty much once I was in, there was just no turning back. It was just kind of like a constant like push to get more out of this industry. So that's me.
Cool. I appreciate you sharing that. The pandemic really had a lot of people making life changes and life decisions. So that's good. So we'll move on, and I want to take some time really just ask some questions to each of our panelists. Again, feel free to drop any questions that you all have in the chat, and then at the end, we will get to those. And I want to focus on just kind of background. So for John and Amira, I really would like to, and either one of you, and I think and Erica as well. I think actually I'm the only admission specialist here, so anybody can answer this. Really, as far as your experience prior to coming to the program, what was that like? And then also, how difficult was it for you to keep up with the program and the course structure?
I guess I can start. For me, my experience from before was mostly just clicking stuff and like trying it out. YouTube University, just those little test those little quick start tutorials you could do that really don't do anything, don't matter, stuff like that. But I knew it wasn't like moving the needle. So basically I did just a lot of pre-work outside just to kind of get myself familiar with like the terms and stuff outside of the boot camp. And then when I came into App Academy, I learned that like the industry is way too broad to like really prepare for this. So like I prepared for the wrong things. And App Academy was using something completely different. So like that was the first lesson, just kind of be on your toes and be resilient and like adaptable. You gotta constantly be able to you have to be like in a flexible mind state, but like also just completely willing to like dive in and like not afraid to break stuff. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, like coming into the cohort, is like it was just a lot and real fast.
I'll also answer. Before App Academy, like John was saying, I was doing a lot of tutorials, YouTube University, yes, that was my thing, Udemy, and all that good stuff. It just is very overwhelming to attempt to learn something so broad on your own. And I thought I could handle the world of it on my shoulders on my own, until I realized that I really couldn't. And I didn't really know or understand where to start or where I should focus or put all my energy into. So I was kind of just learning a whole bunch of stuff, going all over the place with it and not really gaining any solid foundation or skill. Like I knew some Python, I knew some HTML, but I wasn't like advanced, to say the least. I was definitely a beginner. And then I came into the program and I just kind of let it be what it was, kind of was going with the flow, whatever I was given, I tried my best to do my best, I think the hardest part for me was allowing myself to get help when I needed it. I kind of got stuck in a place of like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna know, I don't really know what the heck is going on. Like they're gonna know that I have no idea like what any of this means. And then I have to pair with somebody. Like I gotta be able to talk through this with people. I don't understand how they expect me to do it, but I just gave it my best shot, and luckily, I don't know, the mentors and people that I've gained along the way, they kind of just caught on to who I am as a person. I wouldn't consider myself prideful, but I want to be able to put my best foot forward always. So I try to do what I can to make sure that happens on my own. And I don't know, y'all. It's hard to kind of put it into words, but I sometimes struggle to get help. So that was the hardest thing for me, I think, throughout the program. Yeah, hopefully that. Yeah.
Would anyone else like to add to that? Okay.
I'll add a little bit. So
Okay.
background wise, I didn't have any really experience at all. I was first introduced to the entire concept of programming through a robotics little summer camp when I was like in ninth grade. That was my first, I was like, oh wow, we can actually tell things what to do. But I ended up pursuing a different major and everything in college. And then a little bit after the pandemic, I reconnected with a friend and she actually did this program. And she was telling me all about it. And I asked her, do you think this is something that I could do too? Because I was looking to just get into something else in my life at that point. And she said I could. She said I could also learn it on my own. So I was doing research on App Academy, but also like what people have said about learning on their own. And I heard that it typically could take 2 years to like even really grasp it. And I know me personally, if I'm going to start something, I want to finish it, but it's hard for me to hold myself accountable. So I really wanted to join a program that was going to keep me accountable so that I don't just stop. Because if I just give myself a break, then that's it. Like I might come back a few months later, but then by that point, I would have forgotten what I needed to remember. So I just felt like App Academy was the right fit for me to just stay on course and not stop. So.
And I'll also add on that really quickly. Similar, where I loved how the structure was for App Academy, especially because I had been dabbling in it most of my life, honestly, just kind of like a little bit of MySpace back in the day here. My sister is actually has a degree in computer science, but I just didn't want to go that route. And I went music education. Instead, I really thought I would have a more fun with that. But no, actually, I found in the process, no, this is actually really amazing. You can do anything with it. And so that's even more what was driving me to make sure I was doing this. And just the structure keeps you going. Like as long as you keep showing up and you keep getting sleep, you can really make it through. But yeah, that was one of my biggest things. I can have insomnia sometimes, but just making sure I slept was super helpful to make it through for me.
All right. If you are taking notes, make sure you write down, get sleep. That is very important. Oh, cool, cool. I want to get into some questions that are really specific about just your time going through the program. And so I'm curious to know, what would you say were, I guess, the better parts of the program and your experience from your perspective? And then what were some of your least favorite? I don't want to say worst. I would say least favorite. Like, I feel like Erica's probably going to say sleep, but I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think my favorite part is definitely the career coaching. Out of the good coach, good I guess group, like our group under our coach was tight. And I think there was a lot of workshops just about being a professional, being a holistic developer, things of that nature, really letting your unique value shine through, like in the interview process, etc. That was like game changer for me, because by the end of the cohort, I knew I could do it. It was just a matter of like convincing somebody else that I could. So it was just like the biggest, like from the day I signed up, that was like the biggest like fear. I was like, man, eventually I'm about to get in front of somebody. So that was good, which brings me to my next point. App Academy is going to force you to adjust to working. It actually mirrors a work environment pretty closely. besides the fact that, you're moving through lessons, like sometimes it's just like meeting. You got a little bit of time to do some code, and then meeting. You got to work with somebody on something, and then the day's over and you got to catch up on your own time. Like that's kind of how things actually go. And with that, some of the people skills you will be forced to learn. That was kind of like my biggest hurdle. Not that it was hard, it was just like you got to learn how to work with people that don't know how to work with people. So it's something to learn, and something that you will encounter the rest of your career. So I guess the other thing I like is back how you're talking about the structure of the curriculum. If you are self-learning and you have to manage dependencies and making sure your whole development environment is working correctly at all times, it will be way more difficult. And App Academy has a team of like talented engineers that'll make sure it's all good for you and things are in the right order. So yeah, that's for me.
I guess I'll go next again. I think my favorite part of the program was probably the community. Like I built out a lot of really strong relationships with the people that I was in my cohort with. I felt like everyone was very supportive of each other in their success. And I feel like that like can make or break your entire experience through the program if you don't have like other people that you're going through this journey with to connect to or talk to. Or like my family didn't understand anything about anything that I was saying. They honestly just knew that I was just sitting down on my computer all day, and they didn't really think I was doing too much of anything. I still don't think they really understand what I do, which is fine, but it just felt good to have other people that I could de-stress with, talk about the program with, speak about the things that I didn't understand, and then have them connect and say, oh, we don't understand either. They're building out study groups. Like, I think that was what got me through the program, honestly. And I don't know, I don't really have any least favorites. The only thing that I could think of would be the lack of sleep. That was a big thing, especially as a mom, like being up, trying to catch up on everything I learned in the week to get ready for the test that Monday was hard, to say the least, but you get through it with my community when I had like people that I could rely on or lean back on when I wasn't so sure about things. But yeah, I think that was my
That's awesome. For me, the curriculum was my favorite. Having a background in education, every week I was just like, wow. Oh, wow. Like it was so attainable from where we were the week before, but just challenging enough to where it was like, I know I can do this. They believe I can do this, so I can do this. So that was my favorite part. The part that was hard, excuse me, I have gum. I'm terrible. Oh my gosh. Let me do better. So one of my harder parts was that and it's personal to me, and it was a lot of needing to trust the process, and being that I went to another boot camp before it, like literally their slogan was like, trust the process, and we weren't supposed to trust it. And so for me coming in, it's like I had all of this baggage from like trying to do this on my own and being in toxic environments and, just really hoping this is the thing. It really felt like it was the thing, but reaching out to staff when I just felt like I need to talk to somebody because my mind and my body and all my things are working against me right now. But that I had people that I could talk to just to make sure I was still mentally and like spiritually ready for this. was super, super, super helpful. I'm so grateful for that. So it's not even a real concern. It was my own personal thing that they also were there for me on to make sure I got through. So yeah, amazing.
Just really fast, like to add to what Erica was saying, I had this same experience where I just sat and I was like, I don't think this is it. Like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I have what it takes. But they would not let me give up. It wasn't like a, you gotta do it or da, da, da. It was a genuine care for me to be successful. Like, you can do this. I know you can, and let's figure it out together. Like that for me was everything. I was like, okay, this person believes in me, so I can just believe in myself a little bit more. Okay. I can get through another week, like it's not that bad. Then the next week, I can't do this. I'm done. Like, I don't know. Like, that's okay. Like, I'm all right. But no, it's just like, I just felt like I always had a security blanket when I felt lost. So like, I didn't know what left or right was. It was somebody to help me figure it out. So yeah, I definitely could resonate with that.
So I'll go like last. I would say I would like echoing off of Amira, my favorite part was like working with my cohort. They really helped me get through it. I feel like I wouldn't have gotten through without them. I joined Discord. I hadn't even used Discord ever. I didn't know how to use it. But I made it, for the pre-work or whatever. And then when it was time to start the cohort, someone posted the Discord link in Slack. I was like, okay, I'll join this. I don't know what's going to happen here. And then when it was time to actually start working the first week, my cohort mates, they were like trying to teach me how to like make sure that my mic is working in Discord. Like, I didn't know anything about Discord and everything, but I ended up spending so much time with them. And after class, we would study, and other times we wouldn't even always study. We would sometimes just talk and de-stress before we got into studying. And then we would spend the weekends like practicing the practice assessments and just freaking out if we needed to. And I know some of them would also get on Discord and just stream games or whatever, play games or whatever. And I would just be sitting there and we would just be talking, So it was good to always, talk about it all the time. And like Amira said, I couldn't really talk about it with anyone else. But the part that I liked the least was how much time I did have to give up for it. I mean, I knew it was a full-time program for me. But I didn't realize how much time, because I thought I would just be in class all day and then I can eat and then go to sleep. And, most of us on this panel, I believe, are on the East Coast. So, we would end at 8. But no, you also had to do homework. And then you had to try to understand what just happened throughout the whole day. And then it got to a point where, many times I would find myself dreaming about what we were doing. So while it felt like I was getting rest, I wasn't really getting rest because I was trying to solve problems in my dreams that weren't there. So, but, it was fine. It was fine. I guess my brain was thinking about the right things. But, after it all, I felt very rewarded. And I was so surprised at how much I could make out of this thing that I just learned in 6 months. So it was all worth it.
That's cool. I appreciate you all sharing. And for those that are listening, I hope you got two things there. The community element, how important it is and how impactful that was to help each of our panelists succeed and really graduate the program, but also, I think we need to start advertising this. We'll help you overcome and heal from your boot camp trauma. Okay, so if you got trauma from a previous boot camp, come to App Academy and we will help you heal. All right. I want to get into some career specific questions now. And again, If you have questions, please drop them in the chat and we'll answer those at the end. I'm curious to know, I would like two questions. I'll do a two-part question. The job search period, can you just explain what that process was like for you, for our listeners? And then also, what were some of the strategies that they had you do as far as like networking and connecting? I'm gonna call on Erica for this one. Let me call on Erica for this one.
Cool. So, at first there's definitely that process of figuring out where you're going to work and then getting your first job in engineering, which can be the most difficult part of everything. But what I found even personally was that since I worked in other industries before it, I could kind of lean on that to pair my engineering with a specialty. So then I could maybe be more appealing, even if my experience wasn't what they were looking for. So it's like my first job, I ended up landing officially because I did like a little bit of contract work before getting my first job, which I also recommend that. Like if you have the ability to do volunteering, contract work, literally anything, and that you can put on the resume while you're doing interviewing, it helps a ton. But it was definitely, I'm so grateful for the job search curriculum, and really leaning into LinkedIn. I think I've had the most success with LinkedIn. And it was one of those things where even when we first graduated, a lot of my cohort were saying, oh, they're getting reached out to by recruiters. And I don't think I had like a single recruiter reach out to me right after I graduated, even though I had a little bit of a tech background too. But I did hear like the more time you have in the industry, the more likely you will be recruited in new ways. So what's amazing is my current position, I didn't actually apply for. They just found me on LinkedIn, looked at my history and said, we think you would be a great fit for this role. When I read it and I said, oh my goodness, yes. This is like perfectly my heart, my future, like all the things that I'm so interested in. And 8 auditions, 8 interviews later, I made it in, and they were looking for 5+ years of experience. And I have like 1.5, like of what the industry really counts as experience. So it was a lot of like leaning into the passion of what is important to me. And I can like sell that during the process instead of it being too much about what I might not know about the industry. So leveraging that I think is helpful.
Let's see, for myself, the job search portion of the I guess I said it before, the job search was the part that I was really like not looking forward to the whole time. I think like Amira said earlier, they will not let you quit. I have an incredible imagination when it comes to finding reasons, like logical reasons why I might not be able to do something. And my career coach would be able to flip every negative into a positive, like just constantly flip it. I would really just get all in my head, and she would just be able to turn around. It's like, oh yeah, so you're focused on delivery of value and things like that. And I'm just like, okay, fine. Like, I would just run out of energy to fight, honestly. But really what it taught me is to kind of apply what you can do to what you're trying to do. Not just, you can really, if you focus on what you can't do, then like that's what you're gonna portray to the person that's interviewing you. Like, so everybody is, at the end of the day, the person on the other side is looking for somebody they want to work with, and like somebody that's going to bring value. So if you can bring like for instance, I was working as an inspector in oil refineries, which was like, it's a technical job, but I'm not like coding the program that uses it. But if I can take data, refine it into like a presentable format, and then things like that. Things like that will show that you have at least like the analytical thought process and like care for like projects with your name on it, like a certain amount of integrity, things like that. You can bring things that are universally valuable into your resume and what you can bring to whoever you're trying to work for. And I really honestly didn't realize it until after I got my role, and just started to actually get feedback on a regular basis. And they were like, anything that I was like trying to do, I would get the unsolicited feedback saying like, I see that you're doing that. And I was like, okay, that's what they want. I'm gonna keep doing that. So if you have any, just try to find a way to turn what you can do into something that they need. That would probably be my biggest advice.
Brianna, anything you want to add to that?
Well, honestly, I didn't spend much time in job search. So I don't think I mentioned this, but I was part of the January 2022 cohort. I finished in July, and I was in the career search, I don't know, for maybe a few weeks before I became a TA. And I just recently became mod assistant, so I'm transitioning to that. But I can say that they were on top of me with the job search before I became a TA. So they won't let you stop. They're going to be on you. So that's all I can really say. But they're very supportive for sure.
Amir, go ahead. I saw you nodding your head. I know you. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm just in agreement with everything that's happening right now. I really appreciate you guys' responses because they all are just resonating. But for me personally, I too was not in the job search that long. I think I was my own worst enemy, and that I just did not feel like I was ready. It just was the scariest thing to think of going in front of this company after just coming from working in the food industry and retail and telling them, here I am a software engineer. My name is Amira. How, like, that just didn't make sense to me. I didn't even feel comfortable saying it out loud. Like, people could ask me what I do, and it just didn't feel like I could say it with my chest, basically. So I kind of wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go in with my job search. My mentor at the time, Allie, she tried her best to help me in figuring all of that out. And I just feel like App Academy is such a blessing because there are roles within the company that you can take advantage of in the meantime to just figure it out. Like, and I think I needed this time here at App Academy to gain the soft skills that I didn't have before. Y'all have no idea. Communication, this is the most I feel like I've been able to talk and display like my thoughts ever, so just, yeah, I took advantage of that route, the roles that they had here for me, and now I work for them as a software engineer on their company within App Academy. Sorry, y'all, I'm like fumbling my words now because I'm getting worked up. But it just is like surreal for me because I really appreciate all that App Academy has done for me. I appreciate them putting me in a space to learn and gain all the skills that I need to be marketable to companies. So yeah, just the job search is a hard time, but you get through it and you learn so much about yourself in the process. And I just am thankful to App Academy for helping me get through it and offering me opportunities.
Cool. I appreciate everyone sharing. Last question, and then we'll open up the Q&A for anyone. Again, just a reminder, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat box. The last question I want to ask the panel here, and Amira touched on it a little bit, is this idea of imposter syndrome, where you feel like your efforts don't qualify you for where you are, right? You don't feel that you deserve the fruits of your labor. So what advice, like, how did you deal with that? Did you deal with that? And then what advice would you give to potential students pursuing App Academy? I'm gonna start with Brianna first this time.
Well, I'm sure we've all had many instances of dealing with imposter syndrome. I personally have felt it many times growing up in music and the other field that I used to pursue. But I think the main thing that's helped me get through it is to just do it. Like, I wasn't sure if I was even going to get through App Academy, but I just stayed in it. I didn't stop. If I felt like I was struggling, I would ask the stupid questions, whether I thought they were stupid or not. I would ask them, and just made sure I got a better understanding. And if I got something wrong, I wanted to know why I got it wrong. Why is this not working? How to test out how things aren't working or how things are working, to really dive deep. And even at the end of it all, I would still feel like, man, I'm not supposed to be here. But I just kept going. I mean, even now, I just became mod assistant, and I feel like, what am I doing in this position? Why am I here helping these students? But then at the same time, we do get feedback like every week from our students, and they are saying that I'm helpful. So I guess I'm doing something right. But at the same time, I feel like I want to give more than what I am giving. But just take it day by day. And if things hit the fan, they hit the fan, and you just got to deal with it. That's all I got to say about that part.
John, what about you?
How do I deal with it? I accept it as a reality, and you just gotta keep going anyway. Like, I think everyone that I've ran into, the people that I really revere, that I've met, I think they all have it in some sense. They all kind of downplay how successful they are. Like, I mean, I've met some like really, really smart people in a short amount of time, and they were like, nah, all I did was just this. I'm like, dude, you like, no, this is incredible. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is a piece, you did a piece that the federal government uses now. Like, they use something that you wrote, and I'm just like, wow, I guess you never really, if you just keep wanting to like push further, you never really get there. So I think whenever I feel imposter syndrome, I kind of just think, have I done everything I need to do? Have I used all my resources? Have I asked questions? Like, and really asking questions, I think, has been the best, because you either really run into somebody that's excited about what they're doing, and they'll be like, oh yeah, great question. Or like, I don't, I mean, I guess you just really trying to think how I want to put this. I'll back off that, but anytime you have a question, ask it. I guess that's the biggest solution, because then you'll find out that you're probably either asking the right question to get where you want to be, or you're already there.
Appreciate you sharing that, John. That is a perfect segue into our Q&A. If you got a question, this is now your time to ask it, okay? So don't sit on it. We do have a question here in the chat, and I want to ask this question to Erica. And if you have any more, please drop them in there. So it's a question from Armand. I hope I said that right. Culpepper says, about the career coaching, I'm interested in how to apply programming to my preferred industry. And he said, he's a musician, a cellist. So what advice could you give Armand, Erica?
Absolutely. And really quick on the last question, I wanted to add that remember that they hired you wherever you go. And in that process, they have their own set of things that they run you through that they should be sure about who they're hiring. So when you get into that role, just remember they hired you and you're there and you've done what you needed to do to get to that point. So try to have that rest of like, I'm supposed to be here, and just keep studying and keep growing. And hopefully you'll feel better with time. So I wanted to add that little piece. And then for Armand, I actually wrote out something I was about to send it to the chat, so I'll just read that. So I was going to say that you want to apply for companies that specialize in your desired industry, even if you don't consider them tech companies. Many still need engineers, and it can really shine through on your cover letter, for instance. And I think that's what really shined through for my first job. They were not necessarily in music, but it was creator and artistic adjacent. And so you want to branch from that main thing of music and keep branching out as you go. And look at what they're hiring for. Maybe even send a cold email to the hiring manager just to see if there's something available, because most companies need engineers in some capacity. So just start with what's inspiring to you and companies and industries that are important to you, and it can really, really shine through.
Thank you for that response, Erica. I appreciate it. I want to give Amira a question here from Ashlyn. It says, how did you manage other responsibilities and the program? How many hours did you spend outside of class?
Okay, so I'm a mom, and for me, I just relied on my people, my support system, my family. They didn't know what I was doing, but they knew that I was going somewhere. So they just filled in where I needed them to fill in. And I don't know how to put this for y'all to fully get, but definitely rely on your support system. I want to say outside of the program, I spent additionally, I don't think I would go to sleep, y'all, until like 12, 1, because I would force myself to stop because I have other responsibilities. Like I would be running around, cleaning up, feeding my kid, putting her to sleep, coming back, and just being on my computer constantly. And I'm not saying that to scare y'all. I'm just saying that to say that like, that's just what I had to do. And that's just what my drive was, because I knew that I had a goal. And I think what you have to do is just express to the people around you that I have this goal that I'm trying to fulfill. And if you can support me along the way, I would really appreciate that. And yeah, I hope I answered that. Did I answer y'all? Yeah. Okay.
Appreciate it. You're good. All right. We have another question here. And I'll leave this open for the panel. And maybe I can answer this. It says, can you be a current student while attending the program? And so, does anybody want to answer that?
I think if it depends on what program you want to be a part of. Like we have part-time programs, hybrid programs, full-time programs. So you don't have to go the full-time route that we have been describing to y'all that sounds grueling and crazy. You can go a lighter route and still have time for like your real life. The part-time option wasn't an option when I was going through it. And I definitely probably would have gone that route if I had that option. Probably would have saved me a lot of headaches, but just think about App Academy will work with you in whatever situation that you're in. So just express that and they'll find something for you to like make this happen if this is what you really want to do.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I would just point to the undertone of like emotional trials that we all went through. So just be aware of what you can handle and don't overwork yourself. I would talk to everyone around you before you do overload yourself on something like that.
Yeah, one thing to consider, we do have a part-time program. And like John is saying, definitely don't overwhelm yourself, don't overdo it. As my mother-in-law likes to say, don't bite off more than you can chew, right? The goal here at App Academy is we want to set you up for success. And we have to work together in order for that to happen. And so you have to be mindful of what you can handle, what your schedule is, and then we'll do our best to provide the necessary support and equip you with the tools. So just keep that in mind, but part-time is an option that's usually more flexible for those that are still students or working. Let's get to another question here. Okay, how did you guys showcase your experience gained from the boot camp? So I'm assuming you're referring to a portfolio that they put together. Could you guys elaborate just kind of on the portfolio and how you were able to showcase that throughout?
So I do want to jump in here too, because this does kind of tie in with getting a job in your preferred industry. The most important part for me getting my current job was my final project at App Academy, because I did something literally in the industry that they were looking for. So I did a Bandcamp clone, which I was familiar with from being freelance in music. And that's literally what I do now is music distribution. And so we're literally going through my project and they're like, okay, like you understand the space at least a little bit. You did a project. So I would say when you're doing your finals, if you have a passion, definitely lean into that. So then it's even more apparent that your journey and your story. And to also just realize that, it could be a couple of years, people are going to see this project after you finished. So just know that this is a big part of your foot that you're putting forward, and to make sure that it's as impressive as you can make it be. So then it is easier to maybe land a first role, second role, things like that. If I think that's right in the space of what you're asking.
Yeah, that's good. Brianna, would you like to chime in on that one?
Yeah, so in terms of showcasing experience, I know for the full-time program, now you will have 3 projects that you'll show, that you'll walk away with. One will be a group project, and the other 2 will be your solo project. So you'll have your first solo project, you have your group project, and then you have your final capstone project. Once you have those mostly almost fully completed at the end of the program, when you start transitioning into job search, we call it career quest. You'll be polishing those projects up and you'll put those in your resume. Your career coach will help you with your resume. They will have you join LinkedIn if you're not already on LinkedIn, have you join maybe like 2 more other job search sites. And you will post, you will share all of your information that way, your email, your projects, the links to your projects, what you did specifically on those projects, the most important parts that you like to highlight, like your favorite part of the project, as well as your past experience, even if you never worked in tech before. So.
Thank you for sharing that. We have time for one more question. Anyone else have a burning question? I know somebody got a burning question out there. You're just afraid to ask it. Don't let that imposter syndrome get you down now. Ask the question. I have one more question that I want to ask, but I want to give someone one last chance to drop that one in the chat box. If not, the last thing I would like to ask the panel here is, what advice would you give students that are interested in going through the App Academy bootcamp? Like, if you could give them just like one piece of advice, I'm gonna limit y'all to one piece of advice. What would it be? We'll start with John, Goldmere, Erica, and Brianna, and close it out.
I would say my one piece of advice is you just start. Like, I mean, that's just it. Do I mean, if you don't mind the expression, I heard a lot during App Academy, do the damn thing. And that's just it.
It's my turn. My advice would be to start to build out that community. And you can do that with App Academy, even if you aren't like in like the process of applying. We have a free online service that you can use to start learning, in a Discord channel that you can join to start like interacting with people and just finding others that are on the journey with you. Like, this is a hard journey, so you need support. That's just, if any, you didn't get anything else from me this entire time, just get your people and do your best.
I think I would say stay optimistic. Stay optimistic because, you know, like I was saying before, that I had hard times and moments where it can get so tough, but just stay optimistic that they have been doing this for so long and they've had so much success with the outcomes that you can rest assured that if you do the work, if you take the time, and they've let you into the program, like that's enough for you to be successful. So stay optimistic that no matter what you go through, you will be okay. If you sleep, that's number 2. So, so that's mine. Optimism and #/sleep.
Mine would be ask all the questions, even if you think they're stupid. Doesn't matter. Get your answers and go on about your day.
Well, cool. I appreciate everybody sharing that piece of advice. Thank you all for joining us on this panel. Just to recap, remember, do the thing, get your people, get some sleep, and then what did you say, Brianna? I already forgot. I was thinking I was
Ask
stuck on
all
sleep.
the questions.
Ask all the questions. My fault. My fault. Ask all the questions. Well, cool. We're going to close this out. And again, to the panel, thank you all for being here, taking some time out of your day to share with the interested parties. I hope to be speaking to some of you all, as I am an admission specialist here at App Academy. And so you can help me, let me help you, and you can help me. And let's go after this thing, get your people, get some sleep. And thank you all for joining. I hope everyone has a great night.